bit about my experience with having an injury. So I'm 34 years old and I have a baby that's 8 months old. I was just playing basketball, just a little step forward, probably about a 2 foot step, maybe 2.5 foot step. Wasn't an aggressive move, and then pop, and then it feels like a ball hits your heel. You look back and there's no ball there, and then you get a little worried. Yeah, I just knew. I knew it was it. And then you can't push off the ground, and so there's no push. Like I probably can't push. I don't want to because I don't want to. I want to allow it to repair right now. But that was how my injury started, and it was kind of a bummer. Especially because we had a trip for Florida planned 2 days later, and so I still went on the trip. Um, because I chose non-invasive, but even if I chose to have surgery, it still would have taken a couple weeks for them to get me in. Um, for for the trip, I still did it as I would normally on vacation, really hard through an airport and a baby, while being handicapped. But I felt the hotel was the hardest part because hopping on 1 foot and using a crutch, and I got a roller. A roller is huge. You have to get a roller if you want to get anywhere. Invest in a roller because that saved me a lot on my other foot because you have to feel your other foot out. You don't want that calf or that foot to get damaged because that's your main resource at this time. And so, um, yeah, allow it to recover, allow it to feel that body out, and so get a wheeler, especially if you're traveling far distances. I also live upstairs, and so that's really hard. Using the crutches upstairs is really hard. It's annoying. And then getting around with a baby, sometimes I just crawl, be easier, because I didn't want to make noise. But it's been a good challenge. 3 weeks of that, and so that was crutches. I was in a splint. They put me in a cast for 2 days when I first got the injury, and it was like, okay, what do I do now? And it held it in a down position, 30-degree downward angle, and they held it there for like 3 days, and then they cut it off. The doctor looked at it and he's like, "Yep, it's a full rupture. Yeah, as the MRI shows, and the ultrasound. But yeah, so I he basically palpated it. He's like, "Yeah, there's no muscle there. You can feel where the tendon would be, and it's basically a gap, and that's a telltale sign." Or they do the Thompson test where they squeeze your calf, and it's supposed to lift your foot, in plantar flexion, and mine didn't move at all, and so that was a huge sign for them. Um, Another thing, so after I got the cast off, they put me on a splint, which was just the backside of it, which is really hard because if they just put you in the backside of the splints, they put me in just on the back right here, and it went all of my foot, kept me in that downward angle. But the issue was that, as useful as that was, it allowed me freedom and flexibility to move my foot up, and so I had to be really conscientious of not putting my foot on the ground. And that was hard. So I was like, oh, I'm so used to walking that you're told you can't walk anymore. That's really difficult. So that was my 2 cents on that one. Yeah, follow protocol because you don't want your tendon growing long. That's a much longer process, and you won't have the spring you ever had. And so, follow protocol. It's annoying. It really is because it's been 3 weeks for me, and I had to be off for 3 weeks. But now that I've been off for 3 weeks, I'm able to walk on it, able to get back to normalcy and help out with the family more. So it's been a total of 3 weeks since the injury. So far, already able to bear weight on it. The Pedigo is one thing that I invested in. I thought it would be a good investment due to the fact you can bear weight on it. And there's been studies that show early weight bearing equals early results faster. And so, yeah, I've been able to put support on it, which has been huge for me, and just enable the process a little bit faster for me. 3 weeks in, already seeing some improvements. All right, so here's my take on the VACOped Boot. It's expensive, I won't lie, but for non-traditional recovery, I think that the holistic approach of non-surgery, this is probably one of the best options. Um, it is pricey. It's $300 for the brand new VACOped Boot, and then it comes with sleeves and it comes with beads. Yeah, so I'll show you here. So this is what it looks like. So it has a 30-degree decline. I've seen people that have used it and they decline it weekly, but my doctor's recommended that I stay at 30 degrees for at least 3 weeks, and then we're gonna go down to the next level down. But the cool thing about this is I could swim in it. I can weight bear, and studies show that weight bearing early on is going to speed up the recovery process. For me, it's huge in range of motion. I want to build strength and range of motion faster. Yeah, so that's one of the key components for myself. This is day one, so day one walking with it has been a good challenge because you never know. One thing I've noticed is uneven surfaces do feel a little bit awkward, but I haven't moved it in 3 weeks, and so it feels nice just to move it. But someone did say when you get to this point, you want to bend your knee, and I didn't understand that, but now I get it because when you're kind of like walking forward, if you allow weight to go on that front of your toe right there, you'll push down your heel, and so I I, I think it's okay to put some weight on there, but you have to feel your body out. You have to know where the pressure is, and as dorky as this thing might look on the other foot, the heel lift, my goal was to have my hips aligned evenly. It's not perfect because this is still a little bit taller, but it's definitely more aligned than it would have been. And so, yeah, you want to prevent long-term damage to your hips and your joints. So yeah, that's kind of my take on the pedal boot.